Okay, so in this video we are going to create a quick little animation using the new sequencer and using some of the new features that came in the 4.17 update. So let's create one by pressing that cinematic button, which is add level sequence. I'll just leave that name. You can put a name that's more relevant. So it's very, very simple. I just create a camera right from the viewport here. I could actually even go in my cinematic viewport here, which will give me more controls and will match the camera. So let's create a camera right from inside the sequencer. That works very well. It wasn't quite so together from in the previous versions of the sequencer. Here we have the cinema camera actor that shows up, and when we close the sequencer you see that the cinema camera actor disappears from my outliner. So that's quite useful because we don't need to keep all these cameras in the outliner. We can control them from within the sequencer. And we can create them from within the sequencer. So that's very useful. Also, you'll see that I will enable my camera here from that little button, and you see that I'm now piloting this camera actor. I can use my WASD to place it, and I can change my settings right here in sequences. So if I open my window a little bit more, I have my focal length. What I will do though is go in, select my camera and go in the details panel and change the focus using my draw debug focus here. If I open my focus settings drop down menu or little arrow there, so I click that and you'll see that my focus plane is very, very far away. So I'll just bring that right back, and when it comes within my scene I'll place it near my armchair here, and then I can turn it off. So everything is nice and focused. You can see that my cinematic viewport has taken the proportion allocated to my camera, which is 16:9 widescreen. Okay, so all good. I'll back up a little bit more. Maybe change the focal length to something like 24. Okay, and I can move forward a little bit more now. Right, so that's it for the camera. So now let's do something similar for the directional light that we've got here. And I'm just going to give myself a little bit more room here. So we need to add the directional light to the sequencer. By that, in order to do that, we'll click on the track button and add active sequencer and click the directional light. And now we have some parameters here to change, but we haven't got a transform. So let's add a transform parameter. And here we can just create a key to start with. We'll move our slider all the way to the end, and we can create another key here. So because I've got my key button enabled here, I can just move my slider up, my sun, rotate my sun upwards, and it has created the key automatically. So now if I want to go back to see my camera, I can click here, or I can see the entire thing, the actual movie that will be played back clicking this camera. So let's have a little look. So our sun's moving. So let's move just the sun a little bit further down to start with, and we'll create a little transform key onto our camera as well. And then move the slider to the back, to the end. And I'll just move the camera forward a little bit. So let's enable this camera, and then I'll just move forward a little bit this way. Ooh. And we can just come to the beginning this way. So there you go, and we have our animation. Maybe my son. So here, if I click the key at the end, click this key, move them both at the same time. My son is moving maybe a little bit too quickly. So let's just see something like this. There you go. Maybe it's a bit too slow now, but you get the gist. So that's all very easy. I like to change this button for 25 frames per second. You can obviously do the frame rate of your choice, and then we output the sequencer using this button here, the output our sequence, render it to the directory of your choice. I tend to render JPEGs, and then I assemble the movie in After Effects. There you go. So I hope that's useful, and that completes the fourth method with the little animation.